In this first episode of Martial Arts Workout at Home for Beginners, you're working with nunchucks. You're going to start with a nunchuck in your right hand or left hand. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to show you really quickly. You can either hold it in the middle, and that's going to give you the ability to do tricks, all kinds of wrist rolls, and throwing it and catching it. If you hold it closer to the tip, you're going to have more speed. And when you do some of those tricks or some of the self-defense moves, you pick up speed by holding it here, and then the third position is going to be down here at the end, and that's for maximum striking self-defense power. You come from here to here, or from here out to here, you're going to be able to defend yourself very easily with the nunchucks. But I'm going to have you start with your hand somewhere in the middle, and you're going to have the string, or in this case, the chain coming out of the long side or the thumb side of your hand, and you're going to crank it forward. So this is just a basic warm-up move. You're going to crank it forward, and you're going to turn your palm over so it's facing the floor or the ground, and you're going to crank it forward again. Hello, it's good to see you guys tonight. So you're cranking forward, palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down. You asked me recently what moves would I do or what kind of form would I do? How would I chill out, bring body and mind together with the nunchucks after a long day of practicing with nunchucks? I'm going to show you my favorite way to get that yang, that yin and yang, working together. And that we're going to bring that up in at the very end. This is going to be a fast workout. If this is your first one, maybe you're shut down, you have the COVID in your area, and they're not letting you go anywhere, grab a pair or make a pair and start to spin. Palm up. This is the other hand. You're just facing the sky and you're pushing forward, and that forward motion spins it. And this is a basic self-defense move. You just start with this spin. This is the beginning of all of it. Maybe you're a Bruce Lee fan, or you're a Mighty Guy fan. Maybe you like the Naruto show, or maybe you're a Ninja Turtle fan. They all use the same basic moves. It always starts with what we call an orbital spin, just a spin around the outside of a joint. In this case, your hand or your wrist joint. Thumb down. When you put that together, the thumb up or the palm up, palm down, goes together. Now you have your figure eight, and you're literally just carving a sideways figure eight or an infinity sign with your wrist or your thumb. You go back and forth, put it back into the other hand. I'm going to reverse everything, and from the side I want to show you, I'm just pulling this way. Start to add a little speed. You're pulling it back, palm facing the sky first, palm facing the ground, facing up, facing down. Just do that a couple times, put it together, and now you have this reverse figure eight. Try to get it smoother, get it faster, bring it into the other hand. Same thing, palm facing up, pulling it back toward you. Looks like this. And it's just a real small motion at first. Palm down, pulling it back, up, down, and then up and down. The other thing I'm going to show you today is, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, John. The other thing you've been asking me is how, when you're practicing your strike, you keep it from coming down. I'm going to try to do it lightly because these are very hard aluminum and they're heavy and it hurts even just a little bit. I mean, it's not going to kill me. I'm not bleeding or anything. But when I bring it down, I mean, that hurts. And so your question is, how do you stop that from happening? When you're doing your strike, and we're going to talk about that strike, that self-defense strike again, you're able to create maximum self-defense, devastating power when you hold it at the end, especially when you're using a heavy pair and a hard material like this. But I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show the middle of the workout, and at the end, I'm going to show you what I do, kind of a moving meditation, how to use the nunchucks in a way to focus and bring together body and mind. Body and mind awareness, whatever you want to call it, mindfulness, that's the word. All right, so we did our figure eights forward, we did our figure eights back. Now I want to show you the upper arm. And think of the tricep, that's the muscle that's on the back of the arm. And you're going to go to the front of the tricep, into the back of the tricep. Just this motion here. And you see this a lot in Bruce Lee films. You also, again, if you are a Naruto fan, Naruto! I'm trying to say it right. It's not Japanese, right? Back and forth. This leads to this motion and that pop that comes out really fast. It's a self-defense move. But you're just going to do this. Just front and back of the upper arm, tricep to tricep. Just do that for like 5 or 10 times and then practice catching it. Now here's what you have to see. See how long my chain is? When I practice with you in person, sometimes you push this up in here and that swings back and hits you in the back of the head. That's just because when you're bringing it down, trying to make it hit me, you bring it down, you see how it pops up. You're bringing your hand too close to your body. So when you do this, instead of bringing that far in, bring it down and push your hand away from your body, and then you're not going to smack yourself. You want to have this tension. Now you're squeezing that together, squeeze, 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 and then pop. If this, let me get this guy in here a little bit. We're going to say the bag is the threat. Make him a little taller. And this, again, Bruce Lee movie, right? Bruce Lee, mighty guy, if you're in the Naruto or the Ninja Turtles, he's squeezing, and then he releases all that energy. From here, it's usually a couple of orbitals. That's where we warmed up. 1, 2, pop it under, bam, and then it comes out fast. It looks cool, and it's an effective self-defense move. From here, because you're, almost smacked my eyeball there, you're creating extra tension, bam, and then you just let it go. And when you let it go, you're going through the target. Now, the next thing I want to show you, and I said we were going to get to this kind of in the middle, is that way to keep from smacking your knuckles. And I want to see it, I want to make sure we get it in the shot there. Good. So from here, acting like I have a camera. I don't have a cameraman. It's just me and the camera. From here, I simply open my hand. Now it looks like I'm lifting my thumb, but I'm not. I'm pulling this part down. It's kind of hard to see that. For you old guys like me, think of the old G.I. Joe dolls with the Kung Fu grip, those rubber hands. You just open it up. So when you start to go down, let me see if we can lower that a little bit so you can get a better angle of that. Because this is really important. I know what it feels like to smack my knuckles over and over again before I learned this technique. When I go down, it just takes all the energy out of that strike. I went really fast. I'll go a little bit lower. You'll go a little bit lower. But you can see what's happening. When I come down, if I leave it closed, it has to hit my knuckles. If I open, that's just a natural break. I'm going to bring you back up. Don't get nauseous. Thanks again, John. I really appreciate that. So from here, that super chat or that sticker, you just practice going back and forth. And when you go down, open the hand. So practice your vertical strike. And think of a vertical strike as straight down in the middle, the top of the head. Now the next part of this is when you're practicing on a bag, you've been asking me what happens, how do you keep it from bouncing back when you hit and it smashes your arm or it smashes your knuckle or it smashes your fingers, your wrist? And the answer is you can't stop your strike. It's not a collie stick or an eskrima stick where you can strike and bring it back or whatever it is. You're not going to stop and pull back. If you do, it's always going to pop back and hit you. You have to follow through on your strike. You follow through. When you come through and you don't stop and you go all the way through, it never hits your hand. It's not going to hit your hand on those strikes. It's not going to do that. Yeah, that's good. All right, so we answered those 2 questions about opening the hand and about the bounce back. It's not going to bounce back when you go all the way through. On the horizontal strike, it might a little bit, but on the horizontal strike, as long as you keep it moving, it's not going to. So go all the way through. Practice your full range of motion. Practice committing on the strikes. It's a self-defense principle anyway. Now, I wanted to get to 2 tricks that you can do. These are more advanced than Bruce Lee tricks. Bruce Lee didn't really have a lot of tricks. Bruce Lee did this motion. I call that the Bruce Lee triangle, which is just that diagonal strike and a horizontal strike married to a vertical strike. So think of a right triangle. So it goes 1, 2, 3. He would do a couple of orbitals. He would go to his hand. He might add a spin down and a spin up. So when you're going down and up, add a spin down and a spin up. Spin down, spin up. And a lot of times when it looks like the person using the chucks are going super duper fast, it's because they're adding to the basic moves you might already know. They're adding a spin of the wrist, and that's what adds speed, and it makes the eye look like, oh, okay, that guy's really fast, when it's really just an extra wrist. But if you think about what it is, the arm's moving up and down, and then at the same time, you're adding this smaller motion. So you have this big lever, which creates power, and then you have this small motion, which creates speed, and you put speed and power together, and it becomes a much harder strike. So practice that. 1, 2, 3. Go down and over the arm. Catch it in there if you want to. Spin, spin, catch, pop, and then hand transfers. And this is the first trick. And you're going to learn this very fast today. If you don't know it already, you might already know it. So you're going to bring it from here straight to here, and look what's happening. I'm just putting it on the bicep here. I'm pointing this stick toward the ground. As long as you point that toward the ground and not toward your back, you won't hit your back. Watch what happens when I point it to my back. I would show you what happens when I point it to my head, but you get the point. You're in 100%, you have 100% control. Wherever you point that, that's where the other stick goes. Don't ever point it at your head. Don't point it at your back. Point it to the floor. As long as that's pointing to the floor, it's just gonna hang. The other hand reaches in front of the body, takes it, you let go here, and you bring it out on the reverse of that diagonal strike. Reach across, bring it out. And that's all this motion is. And you'll pick this up super fast. And then I want you to challenge yourself to grow by going forward in the opposite direction. And this one is not any more complicated, but it's more fear-inducing because there's a good chance you're going to smack yourself in the back of the head, or more likely, you're going to hit your eye. I'm going to tell you exactly why that's going to happen unless you can control your natural instincts. You have to overcome what's natural. That's what martial arts is. Discipline. Don't do what's easy. Do what's hard. So this hand comes up. You're going across the body. There's that diagonal strike, part of that Bruce Lee triangle. When you come down to get it into that hand, you're going to stick this hand right here on the bottom of the elbow. Now look, this hand is still out here. You're going to want to do this. Don't do this, but this is what you have to overcome. You're going to want to point your hand at your face. And when you point your hand at your face, yes, I do. I have a whole bunch. John, I'll send you the link to the Cane Master store. I have an oak one right there. I can get you pretty much anything you want now, though. Send me an email, pasquinelli@hotmail.com. Pasquinelli, my last name, @hotmail.com, or Gmail. I have both of those, pasquinelli@hotmail or gmail.com, and I'll send you that link. And I can get them to you right away. So from here, the hand it goes here, right? And remember what I said about that? Wherever you point that, that's where this is going to go. Wherever you control this 100%. So if you don't want to hit your head, it's up to you. Wherever you point this, that's where this one's going to go. But here's what you're going to want to do. Your mind does it. I don't know why, but everybody I've ever taught does this. They point their hand toward their head, and then the other thing that makes it 10 times worse is they look at it. So this thing's coming here, and they look at it, and then it just swings up, and it either smacks them on the side or the back of the head, or they kind of get out of the way because it's coming so fast. They know it's coming. And it's just the way your brain works. Somehow you're so stuck in your head that you point your hand at your head. What you have to do is you have to make this like a tree. It's not going to move. It's growing out of the ground. It's perpendicular. You bring this to the tree, and on the bottom, this hand simply flips up. That's all that is. It simply flips up. I missed it on that one, but you get the idea. From here, I just turn it up. And wherever I turn this one, that's where this one is going to go. Both. Both. Bow. If I could only do one, like if there was some weird rule in the universe where you could only do one thing, I'd rather have the bow staff. That's my favorite. But I love the chucks, right? Bow, because you can't carry these. These are illegal in a lot of places. You can carry that bow staff. It looks like a walking stick or a walking staff. And there's so many things you can do with a bow. And you can do a lot of cool moves too, like you can with the nunchucks. Anyway, I would have both. There's a reason that monks have carried that quarterstaff in Europe. The friars in Robin Hood, the Robin Hood series, right? Friar Tuck carries the bow staff and beats everybody with it. But there's a reason. It's because it's a walking stick. You learn how to fight with your hiking stick. So you bring it over, and then you put this one here, and then you fight your instinct. Don't bring your hand in. Don't move it. Bring the chuck to the hand. I think that's what's happening. We're trying to grab the chuck. That's why your hand moves. But don't try to grab the chuck. Bring the chuck to the hand. Bring the chuck to the hand. That's it. Once you get that motion, you can start to go a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. Yeah, New Jersey, New York, especially New York City. You can't have them in San Francisco. You can't have them in most places in California or anywhere in California, I think. And those laws have been around since like the 70s and 80s. And the fun, I mean, you can hurt somebody with this, but look at the Antifa thugs running around smacking people with their skateboards. Think about a skateboard, that hard multi-plied wood with the truck, meaning the thing that holds the wheels in place, and the wheels, and the weight of that thing, and they're smashing people with those. And this is illegal? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, all right, so that's your move. And then my final move, and I want to show you from here to here. And then I'm going to open my hand, and I'm going to turn it. And if you do the bow staff, or the Joe, or you spin a walking stick, or a broom, this is the same thing. And then from here, I turn it over, and I bring it back. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube today it's been super laggy. The lag has been bad, and I've been kicked off a few times. I haven't been able to start live streams. And I think it's because there's so much going on in the world right now that there are tons of broadband being used. Yeah, so from here to here, it's a universal problem. It's a sign of the times we live in. They're gonna save us with the 5G, right? Anyway, from here, comes here, open your hand, turn back, and catch it. Now, if you marry that, hold on, I'm gonna lower you a little bit. You put that one together with your figure eight. Then over here, you have a wrist roll, and then you're gonna drop it. And every time you drop it, pick it up. By the way, don't expect not to drop it. And don't expect me not to drop it. I'm gonna drop it over and over again. And the reason that you need to drop it is because that's a sign you're out of your comfort zone and you're growing and you're getting better. You're never gonna grow inside your comfort zone. So you got your figure eight going, you come over here, and then when you roll it, you wrist roll it, that puts it in what's called a negative grip. Now there are two basic grips that we talk about in martial arts all the time. One is a hammer grip, where if I had a nail or if I were attacking, that's a hammer. And the other is an ice pick. And a lot of people don't know what an ice pick is anymore. So think of a screwdriver, like a screwdriver attack. So you're either in a hammer attack or a screwdriver. So what's happening is you're starting in a hammer. This is hammer. And then when you turn, now you're in ice pick. Or I guess it's the other way around, right? Here's the hammer, the other was the ice pick. And then you continue turning. And it's the same figure eight. But the difference is where before it was coming out of your thumb side, when you roll it, now it's coming out of the pinky side. But it's still a figure eight. And then to get back into the positive grip, this is the negative grip, get the positive grip, instead of it turning here, it's gonna turn on this side, right hand, right side. So when I come over to the right, I open the hand and I let it roll over the back. The chain literally rolls over the back again. So good, congratulations. Which kind did you get? So I'm going figure eight on the opposite side, right hand on the left side. I'm going to go into a negative grip, keep spinning, and then spin. So the way I practice is, I like to challenge myself. So I'll do 10. Once I get to 10, then I'll do 10 again. Once I get to 10, then I'll do 9. And then I'll switch on 9, and I'll switch on 9, and then I'll do 8. And I know I'm not doing 8, but you get the idea, 8, until I'm doing constantly. Good, that's a good pair to start with. Until I'm not stopping, I'm just doing these continuous wrist roll, and that's how you get better faster. That's how you challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone. Wrist roll to wrist roll, and you get the idea. And then you do the same thing in the other hand because you want to be ambidextrous. Now let me show you my final trick, and this is, the question earlier was, this is from, can't think of the name, but you do the the cardio nunchucks, right? You do the cardio nunchucks, it's like a workout with the nunchucks, and you can feel it. My heart rate's up right now. So this is a cardio workout. And what can you do to kind of focus the mind, body, bring it all together, loosen everything back up, and put the cool, what's your cool down? This is the cool down. At the end of the workout, I want you to start in a neutral stance, feet just under the body. Don't overthink the feet. You're gonna make a clockwise motion. Now this is my right hand. When I'm doing right hand, it's clockwise. When you do left hand, it's counterclockwise. And so right hand is clockwise. And then when I get to, on the clock, this is the round clock, the old fashioned clock. When I get to 10 o'clock, I just looked at the clock, make sure I was right. When I get to 10 o'clock, I let go. And when you let it go, it's going to, from here, it's going to do a full rotation, 360. After, so you let it go here, there's a full spin, and then as it comes over to about 1 o'clock, your palm is going to be facing down, and you're going to grab it, and you're going to continue. So it looks like this. So I let it go, grab it, and spin. Make your circle, let it go, and you just do that for about 30 seconds with one hand. And at this point, you're going to drop it over and over and over and over. Yes. And then 30 seconds with the right, go to the left. Get to 1 o'clock, let it go, catch it at 10 or 11. And the idea, again, is you let it go here. Your palm is facing down. And then it's going to do a full rotation again. And then your hand's going to come over, same hand, and catch it palm facing down. So you let it go here, catch it here. Then the progression, next level, you're going to go from the right hand, and you're going to let it go and catch it in the left. And when you let it go with the right hand, you let it go the same way, but when you catch it on the left, you're going to have your palm facing the sky. So you're going clockwise with the right hand, let it go, and notice that now I'm letting it go around 6 or 7 o'clock. I'm letting it go down about here. Yeah, good. I'm glad you like that. I'm going to show you more improvised sticks because they're everywhere. And it's better than trying to take a knife with your hand, right? Let's talk about the magazine. We roll it up real tight, use it as a collie stick. So I'm going around, I let it go, catch it with the left, immediately counterclockwise, let it go, catch it with the right, and then you can start to practice going from one hand into the other hand. Make that nice turn. I'll get it eventually. Let me try to bring it closer so you can see it. And again, drop it and pick it up. Don't be afraid to drop it. If you're afraid to drop it, you're never going to grow. You're never going to learn. If you ever worry about what other people think, you're going to have a hard time anyway. So this is a good way to get over yourself and not care so much. Then, once you've done that for about 30 more seconds, challenge yourself. Let me show you what it looks like. I'll try facing you first. This is my right foot is forward, my left foot's back. My hand's up. I'm going to go into my figure 8. And when I'm ready, I'm going to let it go. Because if you look here, this is the circle. This is the clockwise circle, right? I can let it go here and catch it and keep going. Let it go, catch it and keep going. The clockwise circle is here, but what I'm going to do when I get over here, let it go, catch it with the left, switch feet. Go into my figure 8, throw it. And this is a symmetrical drill. So this drill builds symmetry, makes you more ambidextrous. This brings the body and the mind together. This is my moving meditation. I'm just switching. And eventually you want to be able to do it without looking back. I'm still looking back because this is a newer pair of Chucks. They move differently, which is fine. I'll be pushing myself though, so that I don't look at them. And then you want to get tighter and tighter until you can just go one hand to the other hand, from one hand to the other hand. And that's how you finish your workout if you want to get some mindfulness training where you want to bring it all back together. It kind of looks like this from this side. There's my left foot forward. So I'm going in, I throw it, and you're going to drop it a lot. Be prepared to drop it, but don't allow it to frustrate you so much that you want to give up. Oh, here's your final exercise. I teach everybody this because, yeah, and there, if you get good at the staff, when in the school here where I teach, and for the last 30 years in the school in Ohio where I taught, I would teach 3 weapons back to back. We would start with a bow. You get really good with a bow, and I get you really good in a short period of time, 4 to 6 weeks. And then everybody gets chucks. And then the chucks are different because you have that pivot point. Because it's this swinging weapon, string. And then after the chucks, we get out the, right now here we're doing Shuriken. Because I think everybody should be able to throw right hand, left hand, be able to throw a rock at a bunny or a bird, a duck. Not because you're sick or mean, but just so that you can eat in case, so that you can eat, right? Be able to pick up a nice smooth stone and your tummy's rumbling because the COVID shut everything down and there's a panic. It's not gonna happen, but just in case, it's better to prepare than to panic. And so I want you to be able to pick up that rock and boom, and throw it and hit that duck or that geese or that bird in the tree or the squirrel that's running around eating the nuts, and then you skin it with your teeth. That's the Marine in me. We had to skin the bunny rabbit with the teeth. Or you skin the bunny, you use a knife, right? And then you cook it over the thing and then you feed your kids. And I know that sounds silly, right? It sounds a little weird, but honestly, I really think, yeah, go to the link below and start with a hardwood staff. It's if you go to the link below, it's a store. It opens up and it says bow staffs, but then it has a staff on the main page that is the hardwood bow that you can use for self-defense, for self-protection, and you can learn how to do all the spins and tricks and stuff. Start with that. But this is what I think martial arts is. Martial arts is an opportunity to calm your mind, train your mind, but it's practical self-defense. You can't take the self-defense out of it. You can't take the fighting out of martial arts and turn it into something it's not. You know, today they're like, oh, martial arts is good for little kids. It helps them with the focus and the ADD. And yes, but that's not the purpose of martial arts. Martial arts is self-defense. Defend your life. Defend the lives of the people around you. Defend your freedoms. Defend your dignity. That's what martial arts is. It's fighting. It's fighting. It's not, martial arts is good. It's for mindfulness. Yes, it helps with the mindfulness. But it's fighting. It's self-defense. You have to know, if you can't defend yourself, what are you doing? You know, martial arts is the movie stuff. It's the cool stuff with the tricks and the spins and all that. Yes, it's Michelangelo. It's all this other stuff. And all that is true. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Get a Joe and learn how to use the Joe for self-defense. But that's what martial arts is. Martial arts has to be self-defense at its core, in its soul. And then you have the discipline, the focus, the stress relief, all the great extra benefits that people talk about in martial arts all the time. But you better know how to throw a couple punches, get out of the way, how to stop them from taking you to the ground, some basic things. If they pull a knife, how to be able to hit first, and ideally be carrying some kind of weapon or find an improvised weapon so that you don't get hurt. So right now we're doing the throwing, but usually I do bow staff, nunchucks, and sword. And sword third because, Tai Chi is still martial arts. It's still self-defense at its core. It just moves a lot slower, a little too slow for me, personally speaking. I've done lots of Tai Chi and I've taught Tai Chi. I'm not against Tai Chi. I love Qigong. I'm a big believer in Qigong and the power of the Qi and the Ki, or whatever you want to call it, whatever your style is, and being grounded and being able to sense someone's energy and being able to throw and hit somebody with your energy. Not like the Denmark fake goofy stuff, but just being rooted into the ground and knowing how to move in a way that you're rooted. So I love Tai Chi. Tai Chi, Qi, energy, movement, all that kind of stuff. But Qigong is my personal passion. I love Qigong more than most other things. But my point is, when we learn here, if you're looking for like what's the pathway to get really good, and this is just my opinion, this is what I've done for a long time, is starting with the bow, the chucks, and then a bokken. And that's the Japanese sword, and learning how to fight with the sword, because that takes a high level of discipline. And it's a lot of the same moves over and over again, and it's small moves, and it's very practical. It's, the Chinese weapons like the Dao, or the sword, the Tai Chi sword, or the, like the Hidden Dragon, Tiger Lady, or whatever it's called movie, the Mulan, those kind of swords. Those are all fancy and flashy and the wushu stuff, but the Japanese sword is like, yeah, the jukdo, the shinai. The Koreans call it jukdo. The shinai is the Japanese word. That's the one that's bamboo. It's split, and then it's wrapped with a leather handle, and that has a string. Or the boken. I'll show you the boken real quick. And that's all that is, right? So this is a heavier. This is a good entry level. It's in the link below, but it just and there's a certain technique, and you learn how to be very efficient with your move and not big, and the Tai Chi or the swords from the Kung Fu, they're very pretty and stuff, but there's a lot of floral or flowery things. Where the Japanese, it's all business, man. It's like the Marine Corps, one shot, one kill. They're not wasting any strikes. Nothing's wasted. And so it's truly a very traditional weapon, but it's great for self-defense. So I teach those first, and then after that we go to kali sticks or eskrima, and then we go into the jo, the shorter stick, because it's like a hiking stick. And then, but they have so much crossover, and then once you learn how to learn one weapon, you get better at learning weapons, and then you start picking up it. And I teach not every weapon. I teach a lot of weapons. I love the whip. I love the chain. I love all those different things. I love the nachinata or the spears, all the pikes, those kind of things. Anyway, I got to teach another class. I got somebody coming in 1 minute. And again, I really appreciate, John, I appreciate that donation. That really, really helps. Yeah, I know who he is. And like my instructor knew him really well, my instructor in Ohio. But there's so many great Japanese masters, and they're very quiet for the most part. They're not like some of the American masters who are tooting their own horn. But we're in a new era. I wish we had their YouTube from back in the day so that we could learn from them the way you can learn from me now. And every once in a while you can find that stuff, old tapes that somebody uploads. But there's so much deep history, and what those guys know and knew. They pass on. That's what this is all about. I'm trying to pass this on to you so you can pass it on to somebody else, and we all come together as a community. And again, I appreciate everything. Please share this. Subscribe if you haven't already. I need to really grow this channel. The Wuhan's really hitting us hard. The COVID, whatever the political correct term is. I know, I'm like that. But it's causing everything to go down. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.